Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 2, Episode 24 of the Make Your Rain podcast. Only one game this week, but we have a whole lot to talk about, man. Here we go. Let's do it. Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the Make Your Rain podcast, Season 2, Episode 24. I'm Mayor's man and very own Anthony Collaz, and that on the other side of me is not Joe O'Regan. That is Mason Mayor. Mason, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I can't wait for the conversations we're about to have. I think it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, and Mason is joining us. If you guys don't know, and we've been hitting at it for a long time, so if you watch us every single week, you know that Joe O'Regan is in the midst of his baseball season. He is actually flying home right now from Texas, as they had a 3-game set versus Texas Tech. That's Cal State Bakersfield. And hey, man, he's doing great things. He had his one appearance so far this season, no earned, I believe only one hit. So we'll see if he gets some more time on the mound. I mean, I think he should, but anyway, you guys have told us a bunch that the only problem with our podcast really is that I'm a Ranger fan, Joe's a Ducks fan, so we don't really have a Kings fan representative. And Mason over here, he's a Kings fan, so we got a lot to talk about, especially in the Kings world in this Zamboni Cleaning. Angus Booth, our very own, he goes up, he gets called up for the first time in his career. He comes back down. He was in warmies for last game, the game that they won 2-0, but then he comes back down, and Kenny Connor Sunday morning gets called up, and he's potentially playing tonight from new head coach DJ Smith, which we'll get to that in just a second. But that kind of got it was kind of in the midst of bigger news, so it was kind of overshadowed a little bit by Jim Hiller being relieved of his duties. Mason, obviously, again, a Kings fan. How do you feel about that?
It's like Christmas came early this year, right? It's fantastic. It should have been done a long time ago. To be honest with you, the fact that it wasn't done earlier is a complete joke, in my opinion. But if you look at his stats, I have some of them pulled up real quick. He went 93, 58, 24 in his tenure with the team. It feels like all 24 of those overtimes are this year. That's what it feels like, just really watching every game. So, I mean, he had the boys playing, but if you can't win the big games in a big market with the players that we got, we have too much talent to be mid, as the kids say. I mean, we're only 3 games out, right? We're in a spot where a decision had to be made. With this being Kopitar's last year, we can't send him out just not caring. So at least the organization's showing we want to win, right? We want to be going the right way. Job's not done, though. We need to make a move. And that's something we could talk about later, but we still need another center, especially with Fiala being out. Brett Mans looked fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would take Trocheck too, if we can snag him from you guys. But like Robert Thomas, Elias Patterson would be fantastic. Obviously that's a dream. But job's not done. At the end of the day, we got to get some stuff done. I love that Matt Green is going to step into the assistant coaching role. I think he's got some good things to say. Everything I've ever heard from him gives me nothing but confidence with him in that spot. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and it was a tough spot for the Kings. Obviously, a couple of years ago when Todd McClellan was at the helm. Hey, man, Todd was fired, and the Kings were in a better spot than they are right now, right? And especially, it felt like when they acquired Artemi Panarin about a month before the trade deadline that things were going to turn around, or things were expected to be turned around. They lose their first 2 games, and the nail in the coffin, which was confirmed by GM Ken Holland, was that 8-1 loss to, like you told me before we started recording. Ironically enough, it was to the Edmonton Oilers, who obviously has been a thorn in the Kings' side for the last 4 years in the playoffs.
So frustrating.
Yeah, so Jim Hiller, he did a good enough job to stay around past his interim year last year and this year. But it's like you said, Kopitar's final year, that 8-1 loss to Edmonton, it just felt like the writing was on the wall for Hiller. It just was not good enough in LA.
That's to put it simply. It's not good enough. He was never good enough. That's what's frustrating about it, because we're too talented of a team to not reach the mountaintop. I'm not saying we're the Avalanche because I really don't think we are. We don't have the Kale McCarr. We don't have the McKinnon, but we got guys everywhere. I think we're one of the deepest teams in the league. Even losing Fiala, I mean, look at the rain. We got guys that we could plug and play right now, in my opinion. Like we were talking about it before that we started recording too. Chromiak might be a little bit of Cohen every once in a while, but I love that man. I think he's going to get called up. He's going to be great. And I mean, we could take him. We could take picks anywhere throughout this Reign roster where I feel like anybody can make an impact. That's special. That's not every team has that.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned Chromiak. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but I have been calling for his name for a long time. I do feel like his game will translate with better players playing with him on a line. And yeah, man, I mean, I totally agree with you. The Kings are a deep team. They might be a little bit of an older team as far as their core goes, like Kopitar and Gaudy and stuff. But yeah, there's really no excuse to really be out of a playoff spot. And I felt like the writing was even on the wall after they got swept in that weekend series against the Ducks. I mean, that can't happen. That kind of turns off the casual fan, right? Where the Ducks have been inferior for the last decade, really.
Since what, 08, 09?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Little less than that.
And so, like, when you get swept to the Ducks, who are in their first year of really their window, their winning window, the casual fan is just going to go, you know what, I'm not going to show up to games no more. And then when fans aren't showing up and they're chanting Fire Hiller, they're chanting Luke, you had to do something, right? And so they make the move. They make the right move, in my opinion. Hiller gets fired. And I asked Andrew Lloyd about it today, Reign head coach, and obviously he was remorseful. He said it sucks, but that's part of the business, and that happens sometimes. So DJ Smith comes in. Obviously not a great history in Ottawa, but we'll see what happens with this LA team.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just happy something happened. As an Angels fan, not to get on a tangent or anything, but as an Angels fan, we want change of ownership. We want anything to happen. And for the Kings to show that they want to win by making decisions that people don't want to make, it's huge. As a fan, I love it.
Yeah. Wow, what a crazy Monday it has been for the Los Angeles Kings organization. Kenny Connors a couple days ago was called up to the Los Angeles Kings, and it looks like tonight he will make his NHL debut. Right after we filmed the podcast Sunday night, there has also been 3 more recalls on top of Kenny Connors. Those recalls are Eric Portillo, Jared Wright, and Angus Booth. Angus Booth is for sure going to also make his NHL debut tonight along with Kenny Connors. Not only that, but according to Mayor's Manor, quote, there is a strong likelihood Jared Wright draws in as well. So tonight, we are potentially going to see 3 staples for the Ontario Reign playing for the LA Kings. Kenny Connors, Angus Booth, for sure, and then Jared Wright. Back to the pod. All right, with that being said, time to get into our ad read from Gaudy Law. We all know having a game plan is key, but when it comes to your family's future, are you ready? Gaudy Law is here to help. Specializing in estate planning, Gaudy Law ensures your loved ones are protected from losing a ton of money and time to probate when you pass away. Just like on the ice, preparation matters. Don't wait until the last minute to make the right play. Visit GaudyLaw.com today to start planning for the future. Get estate planning, pricing, and a free consultation right on their website. It's that simple. The price is right on their website. Gaudy Law, making estate planning easy, understandable, and affordable. And as always, the link will be in the description, or you can visit their offices in downtown Upland. Let's get into game 1. Well, the only game actually this week. That's the wrong song. I'm just a mess today, man.
This is first take. Don't even worry about it.
The Condors are back in town for an afternoon tilt against the Ontario Reign. Early in the first, as I am getting comfortable in my seat, and a 1 and a 2. I want to jam in with you. It's Atu Yamson, a minute and 31 seconds into the game. A silky move. 1-0 Ontario. 6 minutes later, Atro Boy, Leppinen ties the game for Bako. It's 1-1. In the second period, Wright took her to Jared. All he's got to do is just tap it in. Just tap it in. 2-1 Reign. And as the period is expiring, Yorvanti makes Celine and Chromiak look like pylons. He feeds Josh Szymanski across for a one-time shot past Copley. It's 2-2. But in the third, on the power play, Zemer But we ain't sleeping tonight. He puts the Reign out in front, and that would be the game-winning goal. Gutman would put home an empty netter late in the game as the Reign do what they do best, win. 4-2, the final.
Yeah, that Zemer goal, man. That power play Zemer goal, him on the bumper, I love it.
You
He's
love
playing
it.
that bumper so beautifully. I love it.
It's funny you say
He's
that
good.
because Zemer isn't, he's not a power play guy. Really, he's not even an everyday start guy. Andrew Lord talks about it all the time where he kind of gets the raw end of the stick a lot when it comes to lineup decisions. And that hat trick against Baco at home right before the All-Star break, I mean, it feels like it's really turned his game around. I mean, he's been really good since, right? And in the WHL, he was a dog. He's a legend for, I forgot what team he played on. I'll get it in when we talk about him later. But yeah, man, Zemer looks good. He looks good.
Zemer feels like a guy with you throw him on the right line, he's devastating in any level. Any level. I would love to see him with Byfield one of these days. Up top.
Really?
It'd be good. Byfield can go anywhere.
Despite the early goal from Yamson, which by the way was an awesome move. It took a little bit for Ontario to get their engines going. You mentioned it right before we started recording again. Just too many shots from the slot.
Way too many. Honestly, if it comes down to it and we just need to get the forecheck up or bring it back down a little bit, got to do it. At some point, an adjustment needs to be made because it's way too many shots all game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Which is probably one of their. That's probably one of their kryptonites. I wouldn't want to say kryptonites. One of their issues, especially when they lose games, which obviously they haven't done often, especially at home. But when they lose games, it comes from those slot plays where they're not lifting sticks, they're not clearing the puck, they're not getting their body, or they're really just not checking, right? Which you can say that for every team, right? Oh, well, if they lose games, they're not doing those things. Sure. But in this game, all game, it felt like Baco did have their chances, and Copley really had a nice game today. I believe he stopped 22 shots. He stopped 22 on 24 shots. So just too many shots from the slot. I totally agree with you from that point.
Absolutely. I mean, Picard had a good game too. He was standing on his head for most of the game. A lot of the goals, every goal we scored was pretty nasty. It was good.
Yeah, Pickard on the other end also had a good game. He stopped, despite it only being, it was 25 of 27, I believe, because the last one was an empty netter. Let me get to Pickard real quick. Where is it at? He stopped. It was 24 on 27. But yeah, the Reign, despite their liabilities on the back check, they really played good while on the forecheck, and especially in transition, they were really good today. Zemer, as we said, he caught Pickard off guard on the power play, right? But that's a power play goal, so you can't really put the blame on Pickard, even though that's one that you probably should stop. Yamson, man. I mean, you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Nasty. I mean, that goal, the mitts on that kid, man. The mitts on Yamson, dude. That was gross. It reminded me of like an NHL video game goal where you just nasty deked. I mean, if you're gonna deke like that, you have a future in this league.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about Yamson in the Reign weather report, so I'm gonna save my comments on him. And really, the opening period, I felt like, or that opening goal, I felt like that this game was gonna be blown open at some point, and it wasn't. And you gotta give credit to Bakersfield. Fourth game this week for Baco. A stark contrast to the Reign, where it was their first game of the week. That's why it took a little bit for them to really get going in the first period, despite the Yamson goal. That's tough, man. 4 games, especially in the AHL, you probably only have 4 games in a week, maybe twice all season, 3 times all season. And they came out and they played the first place Reign decently well.
Yeah, they played them really well. I think where we won that game more than anywhere was up front in front of the net. We won those battles all night, essentially. It paid off with a goal to tip it in later on. So
yeah, huge. For sure. And that goal that you were talking about, it came from Jared Wright, who ended up just tapping it in. It was a shot from Jack Millar, which, by the way, that goal probably goes in, and it would have been Millar's 3rd goal in 4 games after going goalless for the first 82 games of his career. He's throwing more shots on net. He's starting to become more of an offensive mind, not an offensive minded player, but he's starting to have more of an offensive mind. Period. Right. And he's getting rewarded. He's got 5 points in his last 8 games, 3 in his last 4, 2 goals, 1 assist in those 4 games. And we know how good, or as far as Reign fans go, how good Jack Millar is as a true defenseman. And it's kind of a shame that he's on a just AHL contract. Or else he's probably someone like an Angus Booth where we are talking about, hey, could he get a call at some point if he was like a two-way guy or an entry-level guy? No.
Anybody but CC. Anybody but CC.
Anybody. See, look at this is why we had to bring a Kings fan on, because now we have a little bit of a perspective, which, hey, like, they're paying CC a lot of money. So obviously that's not like really an option from a business standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, dude. I mean, I don't think anybody from the front office can sit in their seat, look at me in the eye, and then tell me, yeah, I think CC is a better option than Angus Booth. I think CC is a better option than Joe Hicketts, Jack Millar.
Yeah.
Really, anybody on the back end for the Reign outside of maybe Dvorak, Bolduc, especially for that much money, it's like an F-grade signing.
Which is why that signing made no sense to every Kings fan when it happened. We have the guys down there, and obviously we've seen him for years, and we know he's not the guy that we needed. It never made sense. It was Holland. I think Holland is kicking himself right now for that one.
No, for sure. It never made sense from the moment they did it. And especially coming after the Jordan Spence trade, which, by the way, to make something clear,
listen,
I don't think Spence was the answer in LA ever, right? I think with Clark on the rise, and Clark has been great this year. With Clark
the dog
and Spence, I don't think those two work on the same on the same team, really, because they're kind of similar players in a sense. But man, to trade Spence and your backup option, or your plan was to trade Spence and then sign CC for that much money,
doesn't make sense.
It
didn't make sense the second it happened. It's kind of like going back to even Sean Dursey, like with Rob Blake not knowing what he was doing with Sean Dursey. Sean Dursey should still be a King. He's still putting up productive numbers. Having Dursey and Clark on the same line would have been great. And Spence could have been paired up with anybody. I would have liked to see him with Mikey Anderson once Dewey's gone, but we'll never know.
Yeah, and that was really Holland's first big move first couple big moves as a GM. So obviously wrong foot immediately.
Yep.
And honestly, to kind of tie this back to our Zamboni cleaning with Jim Hiller being fired and whatnot, this all goes back to Luke. It all goes back to Luke. I saw a stat earlier on Twitter. I'll see if I can find it. But Luke, since taking over in I think 2016, I'm not gonna find it, dude. There was a stat, dude, and it was crazy. He really should be taking a lot of blame for everything as the president. And AEG, obviously the primary owner of the Kings. Do they care? Probably not. It's AEG, right?
No.
Man, and do you guys know I'm not one to call for anyone's job, really. I mean, Luke, he's got to go, dude. He's just got to go.
It might be time. At the end of the day, it's kind of like I was saying, I'm an Angel fan with Artie Moreno. It just gets to the point where fans are fed up with mediocrity or just being bad in the sense of the Angels. But the mediocrity is it's killer. And I do think a new coach is the answer. If you want to put it in layman's terms, like bad coach, really good team, you're going to be all right. Good coach, really good team. We might have something there, right? So it made sense from the start to me to just get rid of Hiller. I don't know why we didn't clean house completely when we got Holland this year, to be honest with you. It made no sense in every aspect throughout the entire regimen change. I haven't understood.
Yeah, I actually ended up finding the tweet. When he was named president on April 10th in 2017, 5 head coaches, 2 GMs, and 0 playoff series wins. at some point, it's not the head coaches, it's not the GMs, and you have
Yeah.
no playoff series wins. It's not the Orioles because you had them 2-0 last year and you blew the lead.
Yep.
It goes back to you, Luke. I don't
Should have
know.
been 3-0, to be honest with you. That's
It
still
should have been
painful.
3-0. Yeah, man. I mean, that was
I don't even think about it.
that was a crazy turnaround, man. I did not see that coming.
No, me neither. Me neither. I sold my playoff tickets that week.
Did you actually?
I saw the writing on the wall. It was done. It was done. Too much pain.
Wow, that was a tangent. Going back to the game, heading into the third period, and we talked about a lot of things before we started recording. There was a power outage inside Toyota Arena, and apparently it was not just Toyota Arena. It was really throughout. I mean, you said it was
Upland,
at the bar
Ontario.
in Upland, so it was like everywhere in
That was
the
the origin.
909.
The origin of it was just sparking from electrical stuff and a little bushfire, but they had to shut everything down.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
Talk about timing though, because could you imagine if that happened like mid play or mid anything, and like the game just shuts down and everyone's like, okay, like what do you do now? It happened right before the third period started, so it's like it couldn't have come at a better time. But yeah, I mean, what do you say to your guys? Really, Lord said he tried to keep the bench up a little bit. He was making jokes. He was really in character. He called it, and it worked, man.
What you gotta do.
Like we talked about, Zemer with a great power play goal. I'm pretty sure it was not too far into the third. It was 147 into the third, right? So clearly something worked with what he said or what he did. Gubman with the empty netter. Rain win. Bakersfield is held to 9 shots on goal in the third. The Rain outshoot Bakersfield 28-24 in this game, which the Rain don't outshoot the other team often, really. And yeah, Rain go 1-0 this week. They win the week, as we would say. Yeah, do you got anything else to say?
That's it. It was a great game. We had to get that win, honestly. Just with one game this week, had to win the one game, especially playing the guys that they have 4 games this week. And we won the game in pretty much every aspect, looking back at it. So it was a huge win for the Rain.
Yeah, and you're right, because as we are recording, the Colorado Eagles defeated the Henderson Silver Knights 4-3 in a shootout, so they get their 2 points. We'll get into the standings in just a bit, but first we will get into the rain weather report. I'll go with the 100% this week at 2 Yamson. Man, I mean, could you say enough about this kid? Just going back to like a month ago, man, 4 points in his last 4 games before this game. So now he has, in the last 5 games, 6 points with the goal and assist today. So 6 points in the last 5 games. He's got 6 goals in the last 9 games. And then he's got, I'm trying to count all these stats because these are the stats for last game. 9 points in his last 12. So now he has 11 points in his last 13. 8 goals, 3 assists. 17 points in his last 22 after notching just 8 in his first 27. So he's really turned his season around. And I sound like a broken record, but before last season, it was like a Kenny Connors situation this season where everybody was saying that Yamson is a dark horse to potentially get called up to the Kings. Didn't really happen. Looked like a different player on North American ice. Looks like he's used to it. He got bigger last offseason. He's not getting bodied off the puck. And really, he looks like the Rain's best player in the last month. It's crazy, the turnaround.
Yep.
It almost reminds me, and we talked about him earlier, Martin Chromiak, everyone forgot about him, really, before the last third of last season. The last third, he was brutal for the first 2/3. Last third, he turned it around, looked really good. This season, looks really good. Hopefully, Yamson's kind of the same way.
Yeah, we need it. The Rain need it, and the Kings need it. So if these guys can keep stepping up and playing the way they are, it's going to be great for the Rain. It's going to be great for the Kings.
50%. Who do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Jared Wright.
I like that.
Jared Wright. 6th round pick back in 22 or 2023 maybe?
Jared, I got
you. I think 6th round pick in 22. I was actually high on him when we picked him. So I'm stoked about him. Seeing the production he's put up. 15 games, 13 apples. I mean, 53 games played, 13 apples, 28 points. I love him, man. He looks good, man.
Yeah,
He's buzzing
before
out there.
before the game last night, he was tied for first among rookies at a plus 23 rating, which is tied for seventh among all skaters, really. I mean, how important is that, especially to the Kings organization, right? Plus minus rating. I mean,
Yesterday.
you know the Kings care about that.
Yeah.
You just know. He
Yep.
now has 15 goals. His 14 before last night. Were tied for fifth among first year skaters, and his 27 points were tied for 11th. He's having a great year. When it comes to the first year pro guys, it seems like as the season goes along, and obviously first year pro, you don't play this many games in college, right? They start to slow down a little bit. Wright's getting hotter. He's getting hotter
It was good.
as the season goes along, which is so important. So we'll see how these last 20 or so games go for him, because he's turning it on just like Yamson, and Wright is probably has the highest upside of all the prospects on the Reign, including Kenny Connors, including Yamson. He probably has the highest upside.
I absolutely agree. Just he passes the eye test. If you want to just watch him skate around, he's flying around the ice. He's always giving the extra effort on the back check. I love everything about Jared Wright. I cannot wait to see him progress.
Yeah, and let me tell you, of all players on the Reign, like I said, I think next year, I personally think he's better than Kenny Connors, or maybe not better, but I think he is someone who has.
I think he does more.
He's more prolific.
Sure.
Kenny Connors is more of a two-way player where, I mean, if you want to put Kenny Connors on defense, I mean, I promise you he would look fine, right? Wright's not that guy, but he's so fast, all while carrying so much weight. Like, he's a big guy for him being that fast.
6'3", 190.
Yeah, and he's the
fastest guy on the ice most nights.
By far the fastest player on the Reign. By far, not close. His forecheck is aggressive, and he told me today that as the season progresses, he wants to get more physical. He's trying to get more physical, and the best part about his game is probably his forecheck. Yeah, man.
Hey, you want to know who got more physical and instantly got called up to the Reign or to the Kings? Big Sammy. Look at him now.
Big Sammy.
He's a dog, man. Big Sammy's up there in the show doing his thing.
Yeah, Hellenius was a weird one, and Hellenius, I feel like he didn't have the offensive prolificness the way Wright has. I think Wright's gonna be way better than Sammy.
I agree.
And I think Andre Lee too. If it wasn't for some little like inside knowledge, the Kings do care about what the Reign do, and what I mean by that is they do care about them winning. They feel like that if the young guys are winning in Ontario, it's gonna bring those winning ways up to the Kings. That's just how they think. Whether it's true or not, that's how they think. And so Andre Lee is a big part of what the Reign do. The only reason why he's not with the Kings is because they don't want to lose him on waivers if they have to send him back down for the playoffs or anything. So they're keeping him with Ontario. He's probably, they're high on Lee. They think right now he's an NHL caliber player, but they're not going to call him up for the sheer fact that they want Ontario to keep winning.
And also you want him to not be a healthy scratch, right? Because there's nights where he's going to be a healthy scratch. Let him get his run. Let him play.
No, exactly, for sure. So next year, I mean, could you imagine like just Hellenius, Lee, and then you have like Wright, Connors.
The boys back.
It's gonna be a new team next year, especially with Kopitar retiring 100%. And stuff. New coach more than likely. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. We got Kempe took a little pay cut for us for this next offseason, I think. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And then Panarin.
Oh boy.
0%. Nikita Alexandrov. Now let me tell you, he hasn't looked good the last few weeks. With that being said, he still is, I think, the Reign's leading scorer. So you can't be too hard on him. He is. But man, has he not looked good. He is standing around. It looks like he's not hustling. He's losing the puck when he's trying to dangle and deke. He's just not really an effective player, especially when he doesn't really have a back check like that. So I have no doubt he will turn it around. But for right now, not good. Especially when not good in this game.
I agree.
Alrighty, that's enough for the Reign weather report. We are flying through this episode. Only one game, so that's nice. Next week, the Colorado Eagles and the Bakersfield Condors are going to play on March 3rd. That is the only game happening on that day. Tuesday, March 4th, Coachella Valley. March 4th is not Tuesday. That's Wednesday, right? Tomorrow is the 2nd. So the 3rd
Yep,
is Tuesday.
is...
Wednesday is the 4th. It is Coachella Valley at Henderson. Tucson at Ontario, 7 p.m. The Reign have really handled Tucson. And Tucson really, even though that they're in a playoff spot, they're not very good. I don't feel like they play really sloppy. If there's any team the Reign want to play in round 1 or 2, if they get a bye, it's Tucson for sure. San Diego is at San Jose. That should be an interesting test as those two teams play similar styles. March 6th, Colorado at Abbotsford, Tucson at Bakersfield. Henderson is going to play Ontario, 7 p.m. It's going to be Rockford comes to San Diego, an out-of-division matchup. And then San Jose goes to Milwaukee, another out-of-division matchup. March 7th is the Eagles at Abbotsford, Tucson at Baco. Calgary at Coachella Valley, Rockford again in San Diego, and then San Jose again in Milwaukee. March 8th, Calgary at Coachella Valley. Ontario, once again, will play against Henderson at 3 p.m. And after that, the game counter, which is starting to get important now, the Reign will be at 56 games. The Eagles will be at 55 games. And that's really all you got to know because those two teams are going to be fighting for the top of the spot of the Pacific Division. Mason, do you by a chance have the standings up?
I go in 2 seconds.
Nope. Do you want to go through the standings?
Yeah. Let me grab these real quick. All right. We're looking at right now in the Atlantic. We got the Bruins. We have the Scranton Penguins.
Come on, Mason. Come on, Mason.
Checkers.
Come on, Mason. Ain't
Hershey
nobody.
Bears,
Come on, Mason. Come on, Mason. Ain't no one care about the Atlantic, bro. Ain't no one care about the Atlantic.
Hey.
Pacific.
All right. We got to see.
Pacific.
We got to see who we're playing later. All right. You got your Ontario Reign up in first. You got the Colorado Eagles in second. The San Jose Barracuda, followed by the Bakersfield Condors, who we just smoked. Coachella Valley Firebirds, the San Diego Gulls, Roadrunners, Silver Knights, Wranglers, and the Canucks.
Man, the Canucks really, to talk about a downfall from glory, man. Calder Cup champions last year. It looks like they're not going to do anything this year. Let's see. What are the important kind of topics? The Roadrunners have 2 games, or the Silver Knights have 2 games in hand on the Roadrunners, and they're only 1 point back of a playoff spot. Again, 1 through 7 makes the playoffs. The Silver Knights might make it this year, man. That would be interesting to see after their hot start. They've really fallen from then. And the Reign, they are 1 game, or I did it again. The Eagles have 1 game in hand on the Reign, and they are 1 point back on the Reign after their shootout win against the Silver Knights. So, some big games
Every game matters.
ahead. Every game matters. Every point matters. You got to win every game. And let me tell you, after what happened last year where the Reign had a great season and they got swept in a 3-game series from the San Jose Barracuda, you want that bye. You want that bye. 100%. Anything else to say, Mason?
Not much, man. I'm so excited to be here until Joe gets back. Even when Joe gets back, I think we'll pop on.
For sure.
But I'm excited to be here. I can't wait, man. I can't wait every week.
It's exciting for sure. First episode with, we got to get you a nickname. The Masonator? I don't know. What? Hey, Mason Mayer is MM.
Mace,
I work for Mayor's Manor, MM. So it's just 2 MMs pretty much.
Amen.
It's pretty fire. With that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching Season 2, Episode 24 of the Make Your Reign podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is where we get most of our attention, surprisingly. So follow us everywhere if you have not yet. Not Apple Music, Spotify, link below. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys have a great week.
Appreciate y'all.